Welcome to the Big Jon Bass Show. Welcome to the Big Jon Bass Show.
Hello, legends. Welcome back to the Big Jon Bass Show. I'm your host, Big Jon Bass. This is the day after the night before. The day after the night before of an awful, quite strange footballing experience, really. These are getting harder and harder. I don't know why I started to do this pod this season. Probably, if we get relegated, is it my fault? I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean, you can't deny the correlation there, right? You've got to look at it and go, well, we weren't getting relegated, and then this guy starts a pod, and now suddenly we're getting smashed up every week. Is there something there? Could be. Who knows? You know I love a conspiracy theory. You know I do. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's my fault. And if it is, then I'll take full accountability and go from there, because I just... every so often, I just hear like someone say, we've just never seen anything like this. But if you've seen enough of things that you've never seen, then that becomes the trend, right? Like the individual details are different. But if you want to see things you've never seen, you just watch Spurs long enough and you'll constantly see things you've never seen. And last night was no different, really. That was an absolutely crazy, event-filled game of football. I want to cover today in this episode, we're going to cover basically the game, right? We'll talk about all the different moments in there. The Kinsky situation, the slipping and the relentless commentary about slipping. Van de Ven, again, like what the fuck? Solanke being one of the positives from this game. Tudor, what do we do next? Vinay and Langer, like seriously, what are they playing at? Getting to Liverpool as well, preview that. And then your questions from X. I sent that out early this morning. Don't know if anyone's replied. I will pick my phone up and read them in real time like I always do, and we'll see what happens. So let's get into it. I mean, look, the game was shocking. The result is a pretty bad one. Look, it's away from home against a really good side with a depleted squad, with bad form. This was always going to be a difficult game. I don't think anyone sort of felt like we were going to rock up there and win. You know, like even as much as my optimistic, well, we could win the Champions League and still go down, has been a bit of a cover for me. You know, clearly, if you listen to the last episode, you know that I was sort of saying we should probably think about what we do in this game because it's quite important. If you get thumped, that can have a detrimental effect. So we can't just play all the kids. But if you get injuries, aka 2 concussions, that will also be an issue. And we've managed to get the worst of all scenarios here. We've got 2 concussion injuries that now certainly can't play in the Liverpool game. We've got smashed, and we've certainly ruined Kinsky's career. Like, he'll never play top level again, would be my guess. Because I don't know how you recover from that, really. Like, psychologically, and if he does, he'll go on to be a sensational keeper, because if you can overcome that, then, you know, you can overcome anything, basically, in football. But look, let's start with the game and the lineup. And look, I mentioned there Kinsky. Let's just get straight into that. I saw the lineup and that Kinsky was in it, and a lot of people were really happy about that. I'll be honest, I feel like, and have felt like for a while, and you've probably not really heard me talk about Vicario or Kinsky really that much, because I don't have a strong feeling about it, and I didn't have a strong feeling about it before. I felt like it would be worth seeing Kinsky, like give him some time, because if he can perform well with his feet, ironically enough, that will give us a different dimension that we haven't had or seen recently with Vicario. Obviously, the risk was always there that he's not a good shot stopper, Kinsky, and that you would lose something there. So I wasn't, like, adverse to the idea of trying him. And given that this was a Champions League game, we're not going to win the Champions League, this is sort of the game where Tudor would have to test him, wouldn't he? Have to sort of throw him in a little bit to this one. If he performs well, then suddenly you go, okay, great. Now I've got, something different now. I've got some options to pick between. And, Vicario's not been in great form either. So I don't think it was the shocking decision that people are making it out to be in hindsight. That being said, what happened to Kinsky is, on a human level, it's awful, right? We're all fallible. We all make mistakes. And we don't normally, when we make mistakes at our job, it's not normally in front of like 60,000 people, right? So you've also got that added layer of embarrassment plus millions watching around the world. So look, on a human level, I feel really sorry for the guy. But ultimately, I actually don't think Tudor really did much wrong. If you accept the premise that you can understand why he wanted to try him and this game made the most sense rather than a Premier League game where every point counts, if you accept that premise, which I appreciate not everyone will, fair enough, but if you do, then after he's, had two absolute stinkers, well, three really, absolute stinkers and just has completely lost his head, the only thing he can do is sub him. He cannot keep him on because we might have conceded another 2 or 3 goals before half-time. In my mind, there was no other decision than to take him off. That's just my opinion. Feel free to disagree if you feel like it. You feel free to jump in the comments and, tell me what you think. But just being in a game like that, that could have got any scoreline in that first half. And look, people will say, yeah, but, ultimately it got to whatever it was, 5-1 or 4-0 or whatever it was, and they just took their foot off the gas. Sure, but in the first half, the momentum was there. There was no risk, right? As the game goes on, they're going to become more and more conservative. But they could have put up a cricket score in that first half. And if we'd have kept Kinsky on, I think his head was so gone at that point, and the players around him were also just, second-guessing everything. That could have been a real horror show, more than it was. And so whilst I feel for him, it's not nice having to drag him off, it's kind of embarrassing, it was the right thing to do. I'm sorry, it was the right thing to do. And Vicario was so much better when he came on, and we were so much better when Vicario was on. He will have learnt now. And that's, again, sorry for Kinsky, but it's over, isn't it? He's not at the level. He cannot perform at this level. And psychologically, it's going to be really damaging for him. But at the moment, that's not my interest. Right? My interest is with Tottenham and what we're doing. And right now, it's not good enough. So, I understand him getting taken off. The second controversy was, the manager, he didn't even look at him when he came off. He didn't console him. He didn't do anything. Honestly, I don't care about that. Igor Tudor is, at the time, with 3-0 down. His goalkeeper's thrown in 3 goals. He's got to bring on a new keeper, lift the players' heads to try to salvage something out of the game. If you watch the clip, he's just concentrating on the game. He's just giving out orders and giving out instructions as he should be as the manager of Tottenham Hotspur. He's not a counsellor. He's not a life coach. He's not there to, the well-being of players. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that this is proper yada, old man, yells at cloud type stuff. And I hope that afterwards, after the game, or at half-time, he had a little word with him saying, look, we're in this together. Things happen, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, I don't care if he's going over, oh, you okay? Don't care. Get down the tunnel. You fucked up for 3 goals. I'm sorry that you feel shit about that. Get down the tunnel and we'll figure that out later. Right now, my only job is to salvage something from this game. And look, it got pretty ugly, but we did score a couple more goals and we did put up a slightly better performance. So he was concentrating on the game, Tudor. And look, we'll get into him later on. I don't think it's working with him and I think he needs to go. So this isn't coming from a place of defending, quote unquote, defending Tudor because he's my guy. He isn't. Right? I'll get into all the reasons why it won't work with him. But in this moment, this criticism of him, the players yet again, mentally just weak. Get down the tunnel. Don't worry about how he's feeling. Get on with the game. You're 3-0 down, lads. Worry about the people who've spent their hard-earned money to fly to Spain, knowing that we're going to, in all likelihood, get twatted. Worry about them. Worry about how they're feeling. Worry about what they're going through. Because no one's getting a handshake from the players. No one's coming up to them and going, you boys all right? You ladies all right? I'm sorry about putting you through this mess at the moment. You probably got loads of stuff going on in your life, and you're not millionaires, and you haven't got a big support staff, and you haven't got coaches and teammates to buoy you up. You might have travelled here on your own, or maybe with, just a friend. And you're probably really going through something at the minute. You probably didn't like seeing us conceding 3 goals in 20 minutes or whatever it was. But no one cares about that. No one cares about that. It's, poor Kinsky. Poor lad. How dare the manager not go over and check he's all right? He's fine. I mean, he's not fine. He's in a world of pain. And again, on an emotional level, I completely understand it. But we're all going through it, aren't we? Am I all right? Is anyone checking on me? Am I getting a handshake from the manager? No, I'm not. Like, can we all just grow up, please? Like, can we just remember that whether you get a handshake or not get a handshake, you're still fucked up for 3 goals and you still feel shit. It don't make any difference. It's not going to fix or make anything worse. It's not going to suddenly go, oh, brilliant, Tudor's giving him a handshake now, so they've given us a goal back. Oh, that's nice. Nothing changes. Concentrate on the game. We get so distracted with this stuff. It's not important. It's not important. So many. Watch most games. Players will come off and they don't shake the manager's hand. And there's no beef there. The manager's doing something. If it's you're 3-0 up and you're bringing a player off, they'll all get hugs then, won't they? Because the manager doesn't need to concentrate. He can just be like, well done, great, that was quality, love it. When you're losing, typically, just get off, get down the tunnel, get some ice, get some liquid, whatever you need, but shut up. Like, the players' mentality is just the wrong way round. And this was exhibited again clearly later on with Spence, who, if you've watched or listened or followed me on anything, you know that I love Jed Spence, and I was a supporter of his when he was frozen out by Conte and wanted to see him play. But this really pissed me off last night. Get subbed off. He was rubbish yesterday. He's been rubbish for ages as well. Get subbed off yesterday. Goes to sit down on the bench and goes, oh, well, I know, he hasn't shaken my hand, so I'm going to make a point of this. Goes up, taps him on the shoulder to shake his hand. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? Go and sit down. You've been taken off. We're losing 5-2. It's not about you, Jed. It's not about any of you lot. Get off. He's trying to get goals to get us, at least keep us in the tie. He hasn't got time to worry about, are my sub players okay? I've just taken them. Have they had a handshake? Is that what they need to feel better? Honestly, pathetic. And that whole thing last night of, I didn't get a handshake and blah, blah, blah. As I said, I promise you I will get into why I don't think Tudor's the right guy. But this, to me, is the issue. It highlights the issue perfectly. These players have been indulged. They've been spoiled. They are entitled little babies. They're babies. They're not, like I said, they're not crying for people that spent hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds in some cases, to go and watch shit like that. They're not thinking about that. They're not going, you know what, I don't need a handshake really, because there's a lad up there who's busting his ass in a cost of living crisis. The world's fucking kicking off in World War III. And God knows what he's going through at home. He's made the game. Or there's a mum in the stands who's worried about her daughter growing up in this fucking mental world, who's come out here and spent loads of money that probably she might not have to come and watch us play. But I didn't get a handshake, so, how can I possibly perform at a decent level of football for those people? It's outrageous. And look, I'm not saying that the players are purposefully trying to spite the fans. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's no consideration. There's no thought about that. They're not thinking it through. It's all just about, me, I need a handshake. Fucking sit down. Honestly, and it's that sort of mentality. Stop worrying about that stuff. Perform better. Worry about how you're going to perform better for this team, because that is the only thing that matters. So sorry, I think that's probably my bass of the net rant, is players worrying about fucking handshakes instead of, I don't know, winning football matches might be useful. So look, that was the Kinsky thing. And then look, we obviously did have a lot of players slipping. I mean, Van der Ven responsible for one of the goals with a slip. But look, it was obviously a wet pitch yesterday, and there was obviously some issues with our players slipping more than theirs. And I can only put that down to the fact that we weren't used to it or expecting it or prepared for it. And, they play there most games, so they're probably a little bit more prepared for it. But I don't know about anyone else watching it on TNT. The relentlessness of the commentary. It was absolutely insane. And Me and Cal from the Fighting Cock were doing our very best to wind up Alex from Bristol, who'd noticed this, and we were just trying to make out like he was just losing his head, which was quite funny in WhatsApp. But there were some moments where it was like, Ali was like, the players need to look at changing their boots. And then there was a replay of Tanso, and he's got these basically like 9-inch studs. It's like, what else can he possibly do? It's just a slippy, it's just a slippy pitch. Like, it don't matter if he got boots on; they're still slipping anyway. Nobody changed their boots, as far as I could tell. No one made like a point of pointing at their boots, like, "Oh, what's happening? I need to change these." They were just slipping over. But Ali was just like, they need to do something about their boots. What can they do? What do you want them to do? Like, turn them into some sort of like tank track tyre things so they grip better? Like, what? They've got boots with studs on. That's it. We haven't invented other technology to stop you literally never being able to slip. What are you talking about? It was absolutely mental, the amount of commentary were going on about it. And generally, look, TNT coverage and TV coverage of Spurs is just horrendous, isn't it? Like, it was, when the first couple of goals were going in, they were basically taking the piss out of us. And then when it was like, 4 and then 5-2, it was more like sympathy, like, oh, I'd love to see them score the next goal. Wouldn't you, Fletch? Oh, yeah, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Like, oh, bless them. Like, honestly, just shut up. Just commentate on what you're seeing. I don't want your opinions about who you prefer and what you like, and just tell me what's happening and explain to me from a footballer's perspective what's happening. Stop giving me this extra layer of like narrative and context about stuff. Just shut up and commentate on the game. It's so irritating. Another moment of ill discipline, which was slightly related to the slip, I guess, because it was obviously in his mind of trying to make amends, is the generous way of thinking about it. But Van der Ven should have been sent off. That was a horror tackle, that. And Romero's sending off the other week, there was a bit of debate about that. Should it have been a red? Should it have been a yellow? The one where he basically wins the ball and then smashes Casemiro. And I think, like, in the old days, that had never been a red. It might not have even been a booking. Or it might not have even been a foul because he won the ball and then just clatters him, and that's just part of the game. Go and watch games from 15 years ago. There's plenty of tackles like that. There's clips like that in people's highlight reel of like, what brilliant. I watched a Rio Ferdinand one yesterday. They did loads, like just smashing people, winning the ball and then cleaning people out. It was not a foul. So I understand why people were like, that wasn't a red, but it was a red, right? He got sent off. But this one from Van der Ven was way worse, in my opinion. He's flown in, off the ground, out of control, and smashed a guy shin height. We got away with one there, and I know last week I was talking about the conspiracy of Spurs, but I think because of the scoreline, the ref just felt sorry for us. And he was Dutch. So I think he was looking at his fellow countrymen and giving him the benefit of the doubt there. So yeah, at this point, it's like he's trying to sabotage us, isn't it? Because it's like he's trying to get sent off in every game. Also, it's highlight my point. He's not very good, Van, right? He's nowhere near as good as he's rated by the general populace and how good he thinks he is. Now, look, he's in a bad form, so I'm not saying this is his level. He can clearly play better than this. But I actually just don't think he's fundamentally a very good defender, which is why he's always flying in, because he's out of position. His positioning is so bad. And he's not good in the air. He's not a good defender. Like, if you think about defending, he's not very good at that. What he is a completely supreme athlete who can recover. But, as we know in football, that's just not enough, is it? And that's why he gets caught out all the time and why we get these rash tackles. And he was absolutely trash. So that was Van der Ven. As for the rest of the team, look, it was really disjointed again. There wasn't much going on. The only time I thought that we looked half decent was again with Solanke, because he can hold the ball up so well. I mean, Kyle Mwani's an absolute disgrace. Again, we've got to stop persisting with him. That's another sort of tick against. It's another tick against Tudor, isn't it? Like, just please stop playing Kyle Mwani. Like, Richarlison, Solanke, you just got to get them two in the team. Maybe even just go 4-4-2 at this point. Like, I don't even know how, because we haven't got wingers. I don't know. Oh God. But yeah, I thought Solanke looked decent, took his goal really well. And he's just a decent centre forward, isn't he? He's like good all round. He can hold the ball up. He scores goals. He works hard. Like, him and Richarlison, those two are the ones that have got to get in the striker minutes. can't be having Conan Moani anymore. I'm sorry, he just can't be anywhere near that team. He's shite. He's absolute rubbish. Porro took his goal well. It was a good goal, good link up there as well. Thought Tell's always trying things. We know he's not a world beater, but he is trying things. Same with Gray, same with Sarr. So, second half was loads better. Yes, they'd taken their foot off the gas. Yes, it was a mental game, all the rest of it. But there was at least some improvement there. I'm not going to go into there's signs there, because this is it. And look, let me just get into Tudor. This is the issue for me, right? Is we haven't seen. I said this on the Fighting Cock. I said this on here. I'm pretty sure last week. We haven't seen a significant enough change of any kind. Nothing has changed from Frank. If anything, it has got worse, and that is a real worry. And look, I understand that there's been some pretty tough games in there, and we've got another one coming up in Liverpool. But I expected something different. We're not even seeing, it might still be terrible, but something terrible but completely different. This is basically the same, isn't it? I'm really not seeing anything different, and nothing has worked. People wanted a shot in the arm. Let's try Kinsky. Well, that's failed fucking disastrously. Nothing has really worked, right? And, I've been calling for the young players, and I've been, it's highlighted to me how little I follow sort of other stuff. But apparently Byfield had a little knock, and Williams-Barnett is also injured. So, of course they are. So I don't know when they're back, but again, maybe that's something we can try. Are there any other young people? Olasese was on the bench yesterday. Just get him involved somehow. Again, these are Spurs boys, Englishmen. Get him in a team. They care, won't they? Olasese's a Spurs boy. Get him in. Just get these lads in. These are our footballing bloodline. They're from our academy. They care. Let's get them in. I think, to be honest, and I'm recording this, the day after, so maybe by the time this goes out, something would have changed. But I think you've got to make a change, and you've got to do it pretty quickly, because there's been a lot of talk online. It's basically sort of two camps. There's people going, get Redknapp in, or Sherwood, or Mason, or Defoe, or whoever, right? Sort of vibesmen, people that can motivate players, give them an arm on the shoulder, get them going, right? And then there's people sort of poo-pooing the idea of a Redknapp. He's been out of the game for 10 years. The game is so different now. The game has moved on. No, it hasn't. No, the game is in the absolute pits. It's set pieces. It's set pieces. It's 11 players. The game has not moved on to the point where it's unrecognisable to Premier League managers who haven't managed for... You're telling me to watch every fucking game still? Seriously. This idea that, you can't do it now, it's such the game's in the piss. The worst it's been for decades. It's garbage. It's rubbish. This idea that only us tactical wizards and data geniuses can work in football now. You football men, you're dead. There's no way you can understand the game. I'm sorry, that is absolute garbage. It's garbage. We know as well from... players who've played for elite clubs. Zidane didn't do anything tactical with those players. Now, granted, it's Real Madrid. But if it was so difficult, if the game was so different, that wouldn't be possible. You couldn't just go, well, look, here's how you motivate players, and I'll get some other coaches, and we've got analysts who can tell me stuff, and then I will take what they're telling me and determine how to use that, which is the perfect way, by the way, in any business or anything, to use it is data and analysts, and they're super important to a business. Super important. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying boot them all out, right? But this idea that not having a person to take that data, decipher that data, and learn how to use it effectively, and motivate people, and to, in some cases, sort of create a bit of fear. In other cases, create a little bit of belonging. In other cases, create a little bit of pride or bravery or whatever it may be. They are human qualities that you layer into the way that you work. So in other words, if it's the players need to run more, just go and run more is not motivating, is it, right? But creating an environment of discipline where you want to run more because you believe in the mission and you believe in what the club are trying to do, and you understand the bigger implications, and you are motivated and disciplined to do it. That they're human qualities. You need to believe in the person that's telling you that. And that's why people have a personal trainer, right? There is nothing stopping anyone now typing into ChatGPT, give me a workout plan to give me abs in 6 months. It will tell you everything you need to do. Absolutely everything. It'll give you every single data point you need to hit. But what's more effective, that or a personal trainer? Someone who will motivate you, who will be in your ear, who will get to know you on a personal level, and you don't want to let them down because you're like, shit, man, like, I've been slacking and he knows it. I have a personal trainer and I'm in the best shape of my life because, which is not saying much, to be honest, it's still fairly round shape. But I am fitter now and in better shape than I've been for a long time because I don't want to let him down. I've tried looking at going, well, I don't need a PT, do I? I can just get this off the internet. It's that kind of stuff, right? And so this idea that someone like Harry Redknapp just can't motivate players because he hasn't been in the game for 10 years. Well, the last time he was in a proper job, it was at Birmingham, and they had like 3 games left. He lost the first one and won the next 2 and kept him up. So I mean, his last job was literally keeping a team in a division, and he hadn't managed for ages then either. Like, he knows more about football than most of these data analysts will ever know. And he doesn't need a spreadsheet, doesn't need data, he doesn't need all that stuff. He understands the game. And my other sort of gripe, which is separate to this, more of the sort of Daniel Levy gripe, is remember when they sacked David Pleat? Because they were like, well, we don't, this is just an expense we don't need when we can just use data-based scouting. In other words, we've got Langer now, so, him and his team, they can do what you're doing. But you can't replace an eye for a player. Like, David Pleat knew football, right? And he was in his 80s, but he knew how to spot a player. And he could make those recommendations. Seems like a pretty low cost to uncover a Dele Alli every now and again. And it's this kind of arrogance and hubris of modern football to be like, no, these people, you don't understand it. If you can't present me data on how and why this player's good, then I don't want to hear it. And look, that would be fine if it always worked. But it doesn't. It doesn't work. The amount of data-based signings that have been made that haven't worked. Now, sure, there's sometimes where it does work, and great. But that's no different to someone going, I know players, and this guy's got it. And that we should make an effort to sign him. You need both. You can't have one without the other. You can't just computerize your way out of this situation. This is a broader sort of bass of the net maybe. It's exactly the same with AI right now, what's happening in business. There's a million AI tools, and some of them are amazing, and I use them every day because they help me to do some certain tasks. But there are businesses go, no, we don't need this person, we've got AI, we'll get an automation to do that. And they are rapidly finding out that it won't work like that. It's in combination, it's the intangibles that you need in life that come from people. And it's the combination of those two things that make things much better. So that is, to me, is where we have some really big issues currently, is that we're just so focused on, we need to, anything that we do has got to be through the lens of data and tactics and insights. These players didn't respond to Thomas Frank and his army of analysts, and that is a modern data-based manager. Didn't work, didn't give a shit. We've now got Igor Tudor, who's the complete opposite, right? Who's a complete geese manager. And I thought maybe that'd give him a bit of something, and it hasn't. So the next one is the arm round the shoulder. It's the Harry Redknapp management style. It's not data. It's not going, we need someone who understands the game now. Oh, shut up. We don't. It's not what we need. We just need someone who can motivate men. That's what we need. And these entitled bunch of babies don't get motivated by a big, scary Croatian man. They are going to get motivated by maybe a friendly uncle or a brother that they can look up to, a big brother or someone like that. That's what they need. Someone who's going to tell them they're brilliant and indulge all their baby behaviour. That I don't care what it takes to motivate them. We just need to motivate them. And then we can get to the summer and get rid of most of them because they don't have the right mentality. And you can get a manager who can combine the data and analytics with good man management, and hopefully we can do much better. But for now, we just need someone who can motivate these guys, and they're not being motivated by typical means. So we need to try something different. I've been saying Harry Redknapp, not even saying necessarily has to be him, but that type, someone who's going to motivate them. And if the modern equivalent is Ryan Mason, then so be it. That's fine. But they need to get results. We need 3 wins from the remaining 9 Premier League games. We have to ask ourselves the question, do we think Igor Tudor is going to get those 3 wins? And currently, based on the evidence we've got, he's not, is he? So they really need to make a change. This brings me on to my next point. Vinay and Langer. These 2 are clueless idiots, clearly, right? Which is why they held on to Thomas Frank for way too long. They kept him in the January transfer window and then sacked him when it was closed. They didn't sign the players we needed in January. They've brought in Igor Tudor on the recommendation of a man who's left us in this situation in Paratici. And they've brought in Igor Tudor. And now they're not going to sack him, are they? They're going to stick with him because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, these 2. They both need to go. And I know people will pull up probably 3 episodes ago where I'm saying, Langer probably go in the summer. Vino needs a bit more time. Nah, I've changed my mind. He hasn't got it either. He's just not got it. He doesn't get it. Like, this season is enough evidence for me that he doesn't have the decision-making acumen to lead this club. So they can both go, as far as I'm concerned. The Lewis family, as much as they also don't know what they're doing, they can show some real strong leadership here. Get rid of them 2. Bring in Defoe, Mason, whoever. And because we can't make transfers, so we don't need a director of football right now, right? It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is staying up. So bring in whoever you need to bring in. I don't care if it's Glenn Hoddle. I don't care if it's Harry Redknapp, Mason, Sherwood, Defoe, or all of them, some sort of motivational dream team to come in. The only thing that matters is staying up. Make that happen, and then we can reassess in the summer about director of football and manager and players and all that stuff. I'll be saying to the players twofold. 1, if we go down, don't think you're getting moves. You're all on long-term contracts. And by the way, if you don't know already, in your contracts, we have a 50% reduction on your salary. So we don't need to sell you, and we're not going to. Like, we're not going to sell you. So your only way out of this club is to stay up, and we will promise you this. If we stay up and you want to leave, we will entertain transfer requests. No questions asked, no problem at all. We will agree with you now reasonable fees that we will accept for you because we don't want to get completely burned if we stay up. And we will accept those fees because we're quite happy for you to leave. We just want to make this clear. You're not leaving in the Championship. I'll be doing that. I'll be going, we'll also give you £1 million a man bonus to stay up. Not that you deserve it, but if that's the only thing that's going to motivate you, we'll give you that. And then you can go with our blessings. And again, we'll write into your contract that it's whatever the fee is we've agreed plus £1 million, so we get our money back. So just stay up, lads, and you can make yourself £1 million and your next club can pay us back. Because that is what's in our control. We can't add more players, we can't do anything else. But, even to these lads who are earning good money, £1 million £1 million, right? You might as well, right? You might as well take it. They're the things we should be doing to try and motivate things behind the scenes. And maybe they are doing it, but it doesn't feel like they know what to do. And Langer is so uninspiring. Vinay is a gooner. They've got to go. So if anyone hears this and has any access to the Lewis family, Enoch, 1, give us a job. Get me in there, some sort of consultant, and I'll tell them how to fix this problem. Failing that, tell them to be bold. Get rid of these lot. Get rid of Vinay. No more Gooners. Like, if they've any affiliation with Arsenal in the past, and they haven't maybe, I'll accept someone who was at Arsenal as a kid and then played for Spurs for 20 years, fine. But anyone like this coming straight from them or associated to them, or like this twat coach who's like all over social media, I'm an Arsenal fan, we're Arsenal, get out then. You're fired. Like, don't care. I don't want people that mug us off as part of this club. Get out. I'm not interested in that. So those lot need to go. So look, in there will be lots of other pods that will go into much more detail about the game. That's my feelings of where we're at up to this game. Tudor's got to go. Let's bring someone else in, and let's do it quickly before the Liverpool game, because that is really all that matters. So let me just add to the expected gulps for this week. Lovely Barocca again today, lads. As you've got Barocca with Solpadeine, because if you saw on my social media yesterday, and you can see if you're watching this on YouTube or on Spotify, I've got a big eye because I've got an eye infection. I scratched my inside of my eyelid and it got infected. So now I'm on antibiotics to try and get rid of it. It's so itchy and I'm trying not to scratch it. And then I had a tooth taken out, right, you can't really see it, but right at the back there. And they wiggled it out and pulled it out. So my face is like quite tender. So they told me to take painkillers. So I'm on Solpadeine and Barocca to try and numb the pain. And antibiotics as well. So, you know, I'm also going through the wars to bring you this episode, legends. So don't think that I'm not down for the cause. Yeah, I won't be, when I finish this, I won't be walking into the lounge and asking my wife for a handshake, right? Because this is my job. I just get it done. Right, let's talk about Liverpool. Looks like this concussion, which I didn't mention, but I will now. Of course, with a few minutes to go in the game, the ball's up in the air and Romero decides, right, now's the time to go for an uber aggressive header because I've lost my head and I'm just going to take everything, including João Paulinho's head off. And those two have clashed heads and to be fair, they both looked in a pretty groggy state. I've actually had a pretty bad head clash in a game of football and it was a very weird experience because I basically felt like out of body to the point where when I woke or sort of came to and was like, I just sort of got up straight away to be like, oh, I'm fine, which is weird because I'm like, I knew I wasn't fine, but your body's like trying not to show any weakness. And the ref's like, you okay to play? And I just sort of swore at the ref. I was like, yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm fucking fine. I'm like, why am I swearing? It's really weird. Like there's some sort of like macho, like overload came over me where I was like, no, I'm just going to swear here because that'll show him that I'm actually fine. And I felt really weird. And I did play the rest of the game. I mean, most of my teammates will probably tell you there wasn't much difference, but I definitely felt weird. And then, yeah, I kind of, it did leave me feeling very groggy for the next day. So these rules exist and we've seen it before with Jan Vertonghen, it can have a really big impact on players. So hopefully they're fine, and hopefully, it's annoying about the protocols that they'll miss the game. Really annoying, like worst timing. Of course it is. But at the same time, you can't play around with that stuff, and it's just such bad luck, isn't it? I mean, look, I'm saying it's bad luck. I don't know what the hell Romero is doing, just flying into that, trying to hurt their player, basically, wasn't he? And then ended up twatting Paulinho. So that is really not ideal, and it is going to leave us again. We've got no Van der Ven, no Romero. So what's it going to be? Dragusin and Danso, centre-backs? Christ alive. And then Gray, if we're playing a back three, it's got to be Gray. So it's Gray, Dragusin and Danso at Anfield. Holy smokes, that's bad. And then you go Porro, Spence as your fullbacks. God, we are in the absolute quagmire. We are in a real bad way here. I would like to see, and I know he keeps playing three at the back. I would like to see us just go to a 4, and maybe 4-4-2, but it's just like narrow or like a diamond, really, like sort of defensive 4-4-2, or it's more like a 4-5-1 when we're defending. Because yeah, I don't know at this point if this is really working. Like I liked the idea of having the wide fullbacks because then that's where you get your width from. And you clearly can't play like a Gallagher out there. But I feel like maybe you've got to just play Tell on the left of a 4. And then you go sort of like Gray, Sarr, and another on the right wing. And then it's Solanke and maybe you play Xavi out wide. I don't know. It's not my job, is it? But we've got to try something different because this 3 at the back is not working. It just isn't working. So this Liverpool game is going to be horrible. They're not in like amazing form, but we never do well there. Like even when we're flying, we never do well there. Confidence is absolutely on the floor. Look, normally I'm super optimistic about these kind of games, and I'm like, we'll get something there. We'll get a point there. I'm also talking about all the time about like storylines in football and how like sometimes against all odds we'll get an amazing result. But in this one, I just can't see it. I really can't see us getting anything from this game, which is really depressing. And then we look ahead to basically Forest, where that is the one where we're going to have to do something pretty big. But this Liverpool game, yeah, look, I can't see what we do here. I would like to see something different. Maybe we'll have a different manager by then, which again won't leave them loads of time. My prediction is that we probably will have Tudor in charge and that not much will change, which is quite depressing when you think about it. Right, I'm going to have a look to see if we've got questions, and then I will do my best to answer them, but I don't know if we have any, which is fair enough because people are absolutely fuming. Okay, yeah, we do have some questions. Right, let's have a look. Okay, we got J's Football _. Does anyone in finance know if the club will fold if the worst comes to fruition and we end up in the Championship or even worse, League One? Surely the club can't afford the debt with Championship money being long term. So I've seen a few bits about this floating around. We'll obviously be fine in the short term because we do have some quite good revenue. You get parachute payments and stuff. But yes, obviously the longer it goes on, that is a big issue for the club and will potentially put us in quite a big mess if we don't rectify that. Next question's from Mbewe Gray, Mbewe _Gray. I hope I've pronounced that right. Or might just be Bewe. Don't know. If you're going to quantum leap into Tottenham's past and influence a change that redirects the fate of Tottenham, what year would you travel back to? What would you do to improve Tottenham's course? And who would you take along with you and why? It's a good question. I would take back current Daniel Levy, and I would go back to a couple of days before they fired Pochettino, and I would use current Daniel Levy as my way to convince then Daniel Levy that I was telling the truth and that I'd travelled from the future where every single decision that he made from that point had a huge detrimental impact to what happened to Spurs. And that bringing in Jose Mourinho would actually make things worse. And then as a result of that, we brought in Conte and that didn't work, to the point where the year that I am travelling back from, the club is about to get relegated. So I am pleading with you, Daniel, you need to back Maurizio Pochettino. You need to spend more money than you've ever spent before. Don't listen to the noises that Poch is finished. Don't listen to the noises that Jose's the answer and we need a win-now manager. What you need to do is you need to go into the changing rooms and tell those players, it doesn't matter how bad you play. It doesn't matter what you do. We will not be sacking Maurizio. We are going to back him. And we're going to ride this season out. And in the summer, we're going to bring a load of stellar names. We're going to break the wage cap. We're going to build the team around Harry and we're going to build the team around Heung-min Son. And we're going to rebuild, and it's going to be Pochettino's team 2.0. And if you want to stay with us to come on that journey, stay. If not, we'll accept transfer requests in the summer as we rebuild this great team, and we'll be looking to push for the title yet again. Please, Daniel, heed that warning, because if you sack Pochettino now, this will start a chain of events that will lead to us being in a relegation battle. That's what I would say. Great question. Thank you for that. MJB Hotspur. How different is the game now to a decade ago, really? There have been new ideas and a lot of jargon introduced, but it's still the same game at the core, isn't it? Spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. It's just nonsense. It's just the classic thing of, no, you don't understand it. You don't understand it. The game's moved on. You pub watching geezer blokes, you don't understand football. You've only been watching it for 40 years. You don't understand. It's a completely different game now. No, it's not. It's corners and set pieces and banging it long and running around. It's the worst it's ever been. It's the most easy to understand it's ever been. It's rubbish. So, yeah, the game doesn't change. I'm sorry, but that is complete garbage. And you can bring in sort of analysts and technical coaches and stuff to do those little changes about, the jargon and pressing and all this kind of stuff. Wall passes that used to just be a 1-2. You can change all of this stuff as much as you like. But the game is the same. So I agree. Ben Spurs, Super Tottenham mate. John, can you help me on this one? Everyone is saying how much financial peril the club is in if we go down, but surely they've got such record revenues that actually we are possibly the only club who is heavily insulated from too much financial instability if we go down. Similar to the question before from Jay. Yeah, mate, I think we'll be fine. I don't think the finances, especially short term, are a big issue. So I think we'll actually be okay, and that's not my concern. My concern is the Championship is a pretty tough league to get out of. We'll be everybody's cup final, and it'll be pretty horrible. So we really do need to. We do need to stay in the league. Mark Kennedy, if you were Vinay, would you take Romero to one side and say, providing we have an offer over X in the summer, we'll let you go. You choose whether you want to leave the club as a legend or not. I mean, I think I said something similar to that earlier. I wouldn't be going down the sort of, legend route. I'd be going more down the route of like, we'll accept whatever you want if we stay up. But if you go down, you're not going. Simple as that. Like, you've got years left on your contracts. We don't need to let you go. So we won't. We'll hold you to ransom here. And look, we would love you to stay, keep us up, be a legend, and go with our blessing. That's what we want. But make no mistake about it. If you just down tools, you'll be down in tools in the Championship as well, mate. And you can train with the kids. Don't care. But that's the way I would do it, and not the way Vinay would do it. Coys 164 IAB. When do the players start turning their bodies towards protecting themselves for the World Cup? A massive window to the world, a big move away, not a scenario when, as I fear, we'll still be fighting for survival. Mate, I never thought about that. It's a very good point. Luckily, most of our players are rubbish, so they probably won't get selected. And the ones that will get selected regardless. So hopefully that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. And yeah, there'll definitely be some players thinking about that. Just another thing to add to the list of issues. Frank Foven-Holstein. Is it better to just get relegated? Get a proper forced rebuild. No worry about Arsenal, United and Chelsea for a season. Maybe enjoy football for a season and go with the flow. Hopefully it forces some big changes at the top too. Frank, I hear you, mate. Right now I'm not thinking about that. My sole focus is on us staying up. If we do get relegated, I promise you I will do an episode that will talk about the positives, what we should do, how we're going to do it. And I will always be looking up, right? How can we go straight back up as champions? What do we do? For now, I'm not going to think about it, mate. I just want to focus on us staying in the division. James Reed, 28. Maybe a list of things that give you more pleasure than Tottenham at the moment. I'll start dragging my nails down a blackboard, self-amputation, cleaning hair out of plug holes, cost of living, stepping in dog shit, smelling the compost bin. Well, as I said, I had antibiotics for an eye infection and my tooth pulled out yesterday, and they weren't the two worst things that happened to me. So that says it all, really, doesn't it? Kino, Blake1182. Hand on heart, do you think we're going down? I tend to believe we are, regrettably. Do I believe we're going down? Hand on heart. I don't know whether it's just my stupid optimism. Even though I'm saying I can't see where we win another game, I can't picture it. I can't imagine it. So I can't feel like we're down yet. So I'm going to say no for now, but I will keep you updated on that one. Connor Hayes, is it better to sack Tudor now or just give him the Liverpool and home Atleti game before getting rid of him? Doubt we'll take anything from those games. Would we be more likely to get new manager bounce after those games? As Foresters must win Red Mason. It's a good point. Yeah, we could be a bit more thoughtful about when we bring in, the next Vibes manager and just use him as a shield. Not sure that Vinay or Langer think that strategically, mate. I'm not sure they're that switched on. And then finally, Andy at Niddy333. How is it that the players themselves can't play simple forward triangle attacking? We know the coaching's shite, but surely everything they've learnt before coming to Spurs can't have dropped off out their heads. 100%, mate. They have to take some accountability here, the players. I'm sorry. They're still being sort of let off the blame here with like, oh, Tudor's... Sure, but like, they can also just play better. Like, it's not his fault they can't control the football or pass to each other. So I would like to see some thoughts and improvements from the players. Like, bring something to take some responsibility. And I just don't think that we're seeing that from them. Right. Well, look, the last thing I'm going to say is this. We are in this mess. And as fans, we don't have much, we don't have much we can control. And like I said, to those people that go home and away, or just to home games, or you watch every game, or you're following from afar, whoever you are, we need to, as a fan base, not get on each other's backs. Well, I've seen a few people nipping at each other on various different comments this morning. Let's not make things personal. We can have differences of opinion. That's all fine. But anyone that's going to any of these games, these remaining home games or away games, and I know people know this isn't like, you should be doing this. I'm just trying to have a rally call that let's really just get behind the team, sort of blindly. Let's just cheer them on. Let's just pick them up. Not because they deserve it, but because we need it. We need them to do something. I'm going to try and get to some of the remaining home games to try and, I don't know, feel like I'm contributing to something, like we're doing something to try and help and support the team. So let's not give up hope. We still are in with a chance of staying up. We've got to believe that we can do that. Who knows? Maybe we'll do something mental and get something at Liverpool. Let's not lose fear and focus. As always, legends, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening, sharing, commenting, getting involved with the pod. It means a lot to me. Let's stick with it. We'll stick together. And always, whatever happens, we'll always still be Spurs. So we'll just stick together and we'll go from there. All right. I love you all. Speak later. Bye.